about redemption. The Mashiach will not bring about redemption. Redemption will bring about Mashiach. We have to take responsibility to partner with God to create a better world. And when we help to bring about this redemption, then this traditional notion of Mashiach ben David will come about. That will be the seal or the confirmation of our reaching a time of redemption.
Was the idea of bringing it out of the house of the Davidic house because David, quote unquote, built the first temple, so therefore we look at that as a symbol of recreation of the temple through David?
There's the temple, and then there's the Davidic line, which is
right.
the royal line, and it's mentioned in some of the prophets. So there is a biblical source for the idea of restoring the line of David. So the rabbis didn't make that up, but it becomes an article of faith. However, they're not saying bring about Mashiach to save us. They're saying, not so subtly, that Mashiach will come when all these other things are in place. And I think that that's significant. Yeah.
But the placement of the comma in the English caused the offspring of your servant David to flourish, comma, and hasten the coming of messianic deliverance. That's the opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah,
Now,
but the
if you
placement.
take the comma away. So,
No, but the placement of the blessing at Tzemach David comes after the restoration of Jerusalem and the righteous.
So it all
And,
depends how you interpret it, actually.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Now I want to go back to the infamous 19th blessing. Remember, originally there are 18 blessings, and to this day the prayer is called the Shemona Esrei, the 18th, but there are 19. So scholars believe that the 19th is the third paragraph down on page 6. Frustrate the hopes of all those who malign us. Let all evil soon despair. Let all your enemies soon be destroyed. May you quickly uproot and crush the arrogant. May you subdue and humble them in our time. Praised are you, Adonai, who humbles the arrogant. So that, according to many scholars, is the 19th blessing, in which we get in our licks at those who seek to do harm to us. Yeah, Joe.
Was that historically brought about during the time when we were in Persia, and then it was introduced during the time of the Romans? But this prayer was originally said for when we were in diaspora in Persia.
I don't think so. I think it was added, unless you have another
I'm
source.
trying to, yeah.
No, I if you look in Reuven Hammer's commentary here, this paragraph is directed against heretics. The original language found in texts discovered in the Cairo Geniza makes it very clear that the intention was to call for the destruction of those from amidst the people of Israel who had accepted heretical views and turned against Judaism and the Jewish people. Such people would have no part in the redemption envisioned here. Our current version, developed in Babylonia, is more general and includes all the wicked, Jews and non-Jews, as well as informers who caused untold harm to Jews throughout the centuries. When it's talking here about Babylonia, it's talking about rabbinic Babylonia. I mean, the Babylonian Talmud Babylonia, not way earlier in antiquity.
Gotcha.
Which is the period of 200, the Babylonian. The
Well,
rabbinic.
no, that's very...
The Talmud of Babylonia begins to take shape following the Mishnah, which was finished in the early 3rd century. So we get the Babylonian Talmud, which is a product of centuries of work, but it emerges from the 4th, 5th, 6th centuries. All right, so these blessings form the core of the weekday Amidah, and you have access to these sidurim in synagogues, so you can peruse the margins and look at the commentary to delve more into the content.
Sometimes I always read the
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff, and there are, of course, abundant other resources that you can turn to. The closing blessings begin on page 7, and this is the section known as Hoda'ah. It's taken from the paragraph that begins Modim, Modim Anachnu Lach. We proclaim that you are Adonai, our God, God of our ancestors, and it's a prayer of thanksgiving. But there are other prayers that are connected to the prayer of thanksgiving. A prayer for the restoration of prayer in the temple, which is regarded as so important that it's included in the daily prayers, even on Shabbat. It's not considered part of the other requests. It's part of the Modim. And then at the very end we have Sim Shalom on page 9, or Shalom Rav. It's a prayer for peace. At Mincha and Mariv, the afternoon evening services, we say a slightly different form of that last prayer, because there were probably two different texts floating around, and the rabbis assigned one to Shaarey, that's Sim Shalom Tova, that's grant peace, and this is Shalom Rav, grant true and lasting peace to your people Israel. The upshot is that we end our Amidah with a prayer for peace. Now, the formal Amidah ends with the prayer for peace. The blessing is, praised are you Adonai, who blesses the people Israel with peace. Hamvarech amo Yisrael b'shalom. The rabbis in the Talmud say that after that, it's customary to add your own personal prayer before you take those steps back. Remember, I talked about the choreography, stepping forward like you're approaching a sovereign, and then taking steps back and bowing at the end. And the rabbis discuss this choreography, but they say before you take those 3 steps back, even though you've finished the formal text of the Amidah, you can add your own personal prayer. So again, they're balancing keva and kavanah. There's the fixed text, but once you've said this fixed text, it should open up your heart to say to God whatever you need to say, and to do that while you're in this formal period of conversation with God. Over time, even that section, that prayer slot became formalized. What we have here, the paragraph beginning, "My God, keep my tongue from evil." This is a prayer that a rabbi says, and it's recorded in the Talmud as an example of a number of prayers that well-known rabbis said during this private time of prayer. If you look at this is really a beautiful prayer. God, keep my tongue from evil, my lips from lies. Help me ignore those who would slander me. Let me be humble before all. Open my heart to your Torah that I may pursue your mitzvot. Frustrate the designs of those who plot evil against me. Make nothing of their schemes. Act for the sake of your compassion, your power, your holiness, and your Torah. Answer my prayers for the deliverance of your people. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock and my redeemer. May the one who brings peace to the universe, that's Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. The one who brings peace to the universe, bring peace to us and to all the people Israel. Amen. Beautiful statement. And over time, of course, this made its way into the printed Siddur. So one could easily see how this beautiful, heartfelt prayer can also become keva, it can become a fixed text. But this is a time of the service where we're really invited to add our own personal thoughts. And this paragraph might inspire our own personal thoughts. But you can think about that. Before you take those steps back and bow with the Oseh Shalom, you can think about what else am I going to ask God for in my
Isn't this a nice
Praise
one,
God.
this personal prayer on the left in the brown? That's a
Mhm.
good one too.
yeah.
By Rabbi Levi Yitzhak.
Levi Yitzchak of
Yeah.
Berditchev. Yeah, they're beautiful
That's a
Hasidic
beautiful
prayers. So let's let's bring this to some closure.
Do we have to?
This is so familiar to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
We read it some,
we read it so much, and yet we don't
so familiar.
always reflect on the true meaning of it. And I hope you had a chance, by the way, to read that Heschel article on prayer, because